Welcome back. Tonight we've been talking about water. Our earlier story, Rand Water, saying it does hope to complete the maintenance that it's doing on time. Some residents in various parts of Gauteng, in fact large swaths of the province affected, but the Water and Sanitation Department saying as far as it knows there's only been reduced supply, nobody affected by complete water cuts, and that reduced supply expected to continue until Wednesday. Let's look at the bigger picture here. How are we maintaining South Africa's water infrastructure? As I said earlier, there has been concerns around our water system for years in various parts of the country. Let's speak now to Gundo Maswime, who's a civil engineering lecturer at the University of Cape Town, as well as Dr Ferrial Adam, a water and environmental activist with OUTA. Let me start with you, Dr. Adam. This is about the current Rand Water maintenance, is about maintenance of the B11 and B19 pipelines. Just tell us about the rationale for this. Does it sound to you, Rand Water and the Water and Sanitation Department talking about the bulk supply? So I think meaning those big pipelines that have to be maintained.
Yes, I think that, it's been a long time coming. And in a sense, I know that it's hard for a lot of people in Gauteng, but this is a necessary kind of repairs that we need. The challenge, though, is that it's quite late, and therefore it has to be done at this level. I don't think it's going to be the last of the kind of infrastructure fixing that we're going to need in Johannesburg and in South Africa. So I think this is the start of many more kind of infrastructure fixes we need, hopefully, in the future.
Yeah. Are you suggesting that crucial maintenance has been deferred in the past and it shouldn't have been?
Yeah, I think that there's a lot of reasons why national government and provincial government have not done infrastructure repairs at a bulk services level. But also at a local government level, there hasn't been maintenance of our infrastructure, and it's been failing over the years. You can see that, where I don't think there's any place where you don't have water leaks and sewage leaking into streets. So I think that it's been a long time coming. It has been deferred, and some of the reasons we know. Some of it has been corruption. Some of it has been just poor management. And so I think that this is, if government is serious, and given all the challenges we have with water in South Africa, the fact that we lose almost 40% of our water because of poor infrastructure, that they have to act with urgency.
Mr. Maswime, your comments on the current maintenance taking place?
Yes, thank you. The important thing is to separate what is happening now from the general problem that we normally have of maintenance. What is happening now is that from the Val Dam, there is an old pipe. The dam was completed in 1938. There's a pipe that was built shortly after that takes raw water into a treatment plant in Sekerbos, where it's purified, a purification plant. So after purified, it's then pumped to various reservoirs across Gauteng province and some, I think, in the Free State. So that pipe is an old steel pipe now, which which needs maintenance. So Rand Water proactively built a parallel pipe next to it. What they are now doing is to transfer water to the new pipe, which is bigger than the old pipe. The old pipe is 2 meters long, which means you can walk in easily. So they're joining these two pipes so that even though they need one, when they need maintenance, they will commission the other one, and eventually they are hoping they might need both. So that is what is actually happening now. So that will affect residences slightly. The residences that will be affected are residents that get their water directly from Rand Water without going through a reservoir. Because if it goes through a reservoir, the reservoir will still have water. Normally it can take up to 36 hours or more, depending on the size of the reservoir. But what is being done now is just to commission a new pipe that has just been completed.
And do you agree with Dr. Adam that it's welcome maintenance? In fact, it should have been done perhaps much earlier.
Yes, I agree, but I wouldn't call it maintenance because it's really
it's
not
planning,
what is being done. Is not maintenance. Yeah, it's just to commission a new steel pipe with cathodic protection.
All right, Dr. Adam, you suggested that municipalities have not been looking after our water infrastructure, and obviously it's a different situation across different parts of South Africa. Let's try and look at Gauteng or nearby. I mean, Sedibeng and the water flowing into the Vaal, and we know that there have been huge shortages. So is that all the fault of municipalities? How do the municipalities work or should work with the provinces and with the National Department of Water and Sanitation?
So the first thing is that municipalities are responsible for supply of water to people and to the communities at large. And if you look at the Vaal, if you're taking the example of the Vaal River, which is one example across the country, and if you look at the report from the South African Human Rights Commission, which basically lays blame directly at the local municipality and at levels of corruption and mismanagement at a local government level, which had resulted in the wastewater treatment plant not treating the effluent properly and then releasing raw sewage into the Vaal River. And that they did not have, they weren't buying the right chemicals that they needed. They weren't doing the right things within the plant to make sure that the waste treatment plant was working efficiently. So yes, in the case of the Vaal River, it definitely lies at the hands of local government responsibility. And that can be seen around the country. We can see that in Makana as well. We can see that in parts of Eastern Cape as well, where it was just, poor levels of management and work done at a local government level.
Mr. Maswime, can you comment on how the Joburg Metro has been performing and municipalities around us?
Okay. It's an interesting picture because I was looking at the web of Dr. Neil McLeod, who is an expert in water systems as well. He actually cited Johannesburg as the only model that seems to have worked in terms of maintenance of water infrastructure. But I'm not talking about sanitation, I'm talking about potable water. Across the country, the rural municipalities seem to battle more. Firstly, because there are no skills there. Secondly, there's a challenge in local municipalities. If you look at the Vaal, for example, in the area of sanitation, the storage that goes to the wastewater treatment plant in Sedibeng, 25% of it comes from Johannesburg, the Orange Farm area, and then a percentage comes from Midvaal municipality, and then the rest comes from around. The wastewater treatment plant has been treating more than what it was designed to treat, I think until last year when they finished the upgrades. But the capacity of effluent municipality to run that plant efficiently is compromised by the fact that the arrangements in terms of payments for the operations between Midvaal and Johannesburg, they have not always been forthcoming. In other places, I live in Out Bay. There's not been water since Friday in Out Bay. When I left this morning, there was no water as well. But this was a case of a burst valve that took time. Of course, it is part of the issue of maintenance. Yeah. So, the issues that Dr. Adam is raising, they are true. They are there, but we have visited a lot of municipalities doing our research, and what we found from municipal engineers is that there is a fear to do something that will end up being interpreted as corruption. because in the media, that's what is being spoken about. A lot of engineers have become so apprehensive that they will follow everything to the book. And in the process, less and less is getting done because they are acting from a point of self-preservation. I think that is another angle that we need to start looking at.
Yeah, so you're saying very quickly that that's crippling them. They're not doing the work they need to do very quickly.
Yeah, there's an immediate pipe that's best. You need to get all the resources in, buy everything. You don't have the time to do the procurement processes. But the engineer will know if I act, this is going to be called unauthorized expenditure by the Auditor General. But when it goes out to the newspapers, it's presented as if they stole the money or something like that. And in some instances, they are in the news for the wrong reason.
You're right.
So
this is something to follow up, Mr. Maswime. Thank you very much. If the bar is very high, that people who should be upgrading systems feel like they don't want to get involved in procurement processes. That was Gundo Maswime, civil engineering lecturer at the University of Cape Town, as well as Dr Ferrial Adam, water and environmental activist with OUTA.